Hey there folks, this is Rocky Red Panda, the host of the other show, bringing you another exciting episode of Art with Rocky. Now in this episode, we're going to be painting Warhol. Now you're probably thinking, wait a minute, you mean Andy Warhol? Well, yeah, we're going to be painting Andy Warhol, hence the wig, which I'm going to take off, because I use this for when I do Andy Warhol. So, with painting with Andy Warhol, I already have this as my reference. I drew him, and he's going to be going on to a work of art. Now, what has happened is most artists are starving. You run out of materials such as canvas, because when I mentioned painting Andy Warhol, I did this yesterday. This was my last remaining canvas. This used to be a Chinese man, and it was sideways. So I went ahead and did a thing of Campbell's soup, which looks pretty cool. And then I was going to originally put Warhol somewhere there. But as I realized over multiple thoughts that Warhol doesn't belong here, because by itself, this is just a work of art. Everyone needs to have their own Campbell's soup can. So when you run out of canvas, you have to resort to plan B by using materials sourced around you. So in this case, the artist would go ahead and use cardboard. Now, most people will pre-treat their cardboard before they paint, because I use acrylic. But in my case, I'm not going to do that. As you can see here, this one was one. I did thick piece of cardboard. It's not going anywhere. It's not moving. I put what you call newspaper with my art down here. And I did the redding, which is all acrylic, which looks pretty good. But for this one, I'm going straight onto cardboard itself. Now, when you're looking for cardboard, you don't want something that's like this, flat and flimsy. This is from what my art prints came in from when I got from Staples. Now, this is good for drawing on, because this is almost like paper, but you don't want to do that. That's not good source material. So, in this case, I am sorting to, this is a somewhat heavy piece of cardboard from Amazon, from an Amazon box. And then if I go ahead and place Warhol, say, on there, as you notice, it fits just right, or wherever I plan to place them. Maybe here will do fine. Dead center, just like my original art. Or I could just place them down below. It really doesn't matter of its placement, because most of my art pieces have them dead center, or maybe I can do it this way as well. But regardless, you make do with what you have. Now, in the past, with all my art, I've been using a technique called weak glue, which is this stuff. But what I've noticed is my weak glue on some of the projects, they've been coming up and re-coming up, and I had to re-glue them down to get them to stick, because this has not been sticky enough. So I'm going to be using a mixture. I'm going to be using weak glue and a mixture of double-sided masking tape to hold it in place. So this will not go anywhere. But before we get there, we gotta, most artists would say, pre-treat the canvas. I gotta color the back of this piece of cardboard to give it the desired color and effect that I'm gonna be using for the art. For this, we gotta go back and reference some of Andy Warhol's paintings to come up with a single color that was fluent to Warhol himself that would do justice to this image. Now, this image was originally just printed on white background, but we're going to make this pop. So let's get to work. Started, we had to have a handy dandy box here. These are latex-free gloves, because even though being an artist, you have to be safe and you don't want to get things closed. And make sure you wear clothes, which I'm not wearing, that you don't want to get paint on. So let's see if we can get these gloves on. Always good to blow them up. We're going to go ahead. We're going to put our hand, and we're going to do the same here. Isn't art fun? All right, so we are ready. Now, we do have here water, just plain old water for dipping our brushes in. And over here, these are our brushes. I have them stored, of course, in a sock. I have all my different size brushes, which I will now bring out. And I'm going to be using this. This is my Glass from Western PA for a weekend. That's going to be my brush holder. So I'm going to put all of my brushes within that cup. Just like so. So all of our brushes are in. And then lastly, within the sock, there's one more piece here. This is what I use for scraping. Use this little piece of metal for scraping. And then we also have one other piece of material. Two, I should say. Is what I call spreading the butter. When you spread the butter, you use a knife or a palette knife. In this case, I'm using a regular knife and a plastic knife. And that's what I use for spreading the butter. And then we also have a spoon, which I use as well. So everything is set to go. So, oh yeah, one other thing. Your paint palette. My paint palette is to mix the colors and to mix the paints. And of course you got your paints as well. And this will double as a rag to kind of, when you're done with your painting, you can dry and you can wipe your brush on. So, all right, I think we're ready. So with the canvas now dry, I decided to go a different approach. Now looking at the canvas as is dry, we do have Warhol. I'm just going to stick them right there, or Andy Cathole. It looks okay. I'm not a fan of the color, but it looks good. Well, as an artist, you critique your own work before you even start, and you're never done with work that you start. So that's what it looks like thus far. Now, here's what my plan is. Instead of ruining Campbell's soup cans, because I do have a few, I don't want to ruin the labels, I took a few. I printed these online in paper form. Tomato, alphabet, chicken alphabet soup, vegetable made with real beef stock, and chicken noodle. Now, the idea I had was to do kind of like a little collage and paste them post-hastily in certain areas of the canvas. And by doing so, it'll give it this cool look and feel. I kind of like it. We'll see what it looks like. So, we're going to go ahead and open this wheat glue. Now, with the wheat glue again, I'm going to get my handy dandy gloves on, because this stuff is potent and I don't like getting it on messy fingers. Gloves on. We're going to go ahead, take our brush here. First, let's find, right here it is. And we're going to take our brush out and we're going to pat the brush to clean it. And then we're going to stick it into this wheat glue. We're going to get some of that lovely glue stuff at the bottom. Access off. And then all we're going to do is we just onto the back of the wheat glue. Just paper, just like so. Make sure we get the edges and everywhere we want to cover. It's okay if it gets onto the canvas. because it'll leave a cool effect. And then we're going to place it where we would like it onto the canvas. Now note, you can always move it around as such, but when you're done, you should have something that looks like this. I mean, my idea, it's kind of imperfect. It kind of looks like a collage right now. It doesn't look that great, but trust me, when we're done with this, it's going to look amazing. There's no Warhol, or Cat Hall, I think. I kind of like him right about there, dead center. That looks just about right. So before we go in there, we're going to do a little bit more coloring to this background itself, because as you can see, you just see the soup cans and the color. So we're actually going to go ahead and add more color. So what I was doing is I'm just doing a little test, a little subtle test is what I like to call it. So I have red, which is almost like the Campbell soup can. And here's where fingers come into play. I'm going to take my finger and I'm just going to take some of this red, put a dot there, maybe a little dot there, a dot down there, a dot there, maybe there. That's fine if it gets on top of things, because it's all about the art. Now, once the dots are there, because this is what you call having fun. I'm taking a dry brush, has a little wetness to it, and I'm just going to go like this. I'm just going to spread, almost kind of like blending it in. Same down here, almost kind of like, if it gets over the art, the Campbell's, that's perfectly fine. And then here we'll do the same. We don't want a complete red background. We just want maybe like an imprint that there is subtlety, that there's a hint of red. And we're just going to brush it through. Just like so. Add a little bit of cream. Cream sounds good. Now, note, I'm really not using my brush. I'm just using my finger. Let's just go ahead and let's add some cream here. Add some cream there, and we'll go ahead and add some cream. At the moment, it kind of looks like a primordial mess, is what it does. It looks like a horrible child's artwork. Well, I found a new technique, which we're going to go back to. We're going to be using wheat glue. When wheat glue dries on canvas, it gives a cool textured effect. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to do some wheat glue. This is all called preparing the canvas for Warhol. Once Warhol's on there, then the fun starts. So what we're going to do is we can just go ahead and we'll do splatter the canvas. It's okay. If it drips, it drips. That's fine. Because when it dries, it leaves this cool effect. Alright, that's that dry. Canvas fully treated. This is what it looks like. You get that cool white effect from, of course, here, from your wheat glue. I had to glue some things down and use some double-sided sticky tape to hold some things down, but I think everything looks good. It looks like a mess, but when you're an artist, it's not about the mess. It's about prosperity. So, with all that said, we're going to go ahead and add Andy Cat Hall. Is key. I think he would look good right about there. So that's where we're going to put him. Placement of Andy down. Everything looks good. Everything seems good. We're just going to check the edges. And we're going to fix some corners. Right there. Of course, I'm getting weak glue all over. Again, if the weak glue gets out, that's perfectly fine. We don't want this to be clean. It can be messy. It can be dirty. Because nothing is perfect. There. Now we're going to sit and let it dry. Right. With Warhol now dry, now comes the fun part. Painting. So for this, I'm going to do a check. Let's just see if I did this brush. That's going to be a little bit too big. So let's go for my favorite brush, which is this one. It's good for outlining. So we're going to take some, just double check. Yep, that looks good. All right. So let's find my black. And we're going to do some outlining. So here comes the fun. It's been outlined. Everything looks good. So I did the black. I went back and tried to put these down as much as possible. Now I'm going to go back in. You see, like here, certain areas, like there and there. I'm going to highlight. It's like a pop painting with some pink. So we're going to give a little pink to the nose. We're going to add the pink briefly where it should be to the ears. Kind of makes it pop out, you know, stand out. We're not going to give it completely. We're just going to do like a Warhol effect to certain areas. Now let's see. We did the black, but I'm going to go back in there with the black. Let's go back in here very lightly with the black, like so. Let's do it over here too, lightly. Like so. All right. So let's move on. Cool little accents to it. Now we're going to see right here. We're going to do some of that gray. We're going to make this pop. Just like a pop art. So we're just going to go lightly. And with the gray. Just like so. We're not going to do anything fancy. We're just going to go lightly in. There. There. We're going to pull some of that gray maybe down here to the eyes. Maybe here. Briefly. Just like so. Kind of gives it a pop effect. Oh. And then of course, down here, that is white. So we're going to take our white, which is this, and then we're going to go ahead and paint that. You should have something like this. So let me tell you what I did here. So let's start with the Warhol itself. I did a black bold outline around Cat Hall. I did some black outlines, some of the lines on the inside to highlight. Gave it some colors of pink. I gave some of this accent of the orange. I did the grays, and I did the dark grays and some whites. So when you look at it, it kind of looks like almost like a painting. So I took an original drawing and I plastered it on here and gave it some cool, awesome colors. Now, is it done? Not yet. I mean, I will probably fiddle around with it a little bit more, but for this purpose of the video, we're going to go ahead and we're going to sign it. So we're going to actually use red this time. So let's go over here and let's do down here in the corner. Boom, signed and dated. Wasn't that fun? I hope you guys enjoyed it. This little cool work of art. Now, it's probably not done yet. I'm probably going to fiddle around with it a little bit more. Add some more colors. I gotta, like I see here, glue these back down because I don't want them to be coming up. Maybe add a little bit more to the background, but for now, I would say it's darn good. Messy little Warhol. If you enjoyed me creating some art and you want to see more art, please like and subscribe for more videos. There'll be more coming because I discovered this new technique and I absolutely love it. So for now, this is Rocky Red Panda signing out. Until next time, keep the art rolling. Catch you on the flip side.